Welcome back to our Lenten lesson. Today we're going to have our lessons for week 5 and 6 of Lent. But before we begin, let's take a look at what we've already learned. In the beginning, the baby was born, and God chose Mary and Joseph to be his parents. They loved the baby, and the baby grew. The baby grew into a boy. And when Jesus was about 12, he went with his family from their village of Nazareth to Jerusalem. And during that trip, on their return home, he was lost. And after looking, Mary and Joseph and their friends finally found Jesus in the temple. And Jesus said, "Didn't you know that I would be in my Father's house?" And that confused Mary and Joseph, but they soon realized what he meant. And later, that boy grew into a man. And when Jesus was about 30, he crossed the river Jordan and he met John, his cousin. John was baptizing people, and Jesus asked John to baptize him. After Jesus was baptized, he thought long and hard about what his work would be, and he decided to go into the desert. While Jesus was in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, he thought long and hard about what his work should be. And after he thought about what his work should be, he came back across the Jordan River and he began to do his work. But what exactly would that work be? Jesus' work was that he would come close to people that no one wanted to come close to. You can see here that Jesus is helping a blind man, and he's coming so close that he's actually touching him. Now, when Jesus came close to people, they changed. They could see things that they could never see before, and they could do things that they could never do before. They became well. Jesus also told parables. Finally, he knew that he had to become a parable. So he turned towards Jerusalem for the last time. Jesus went into Jerusalem for the last time. It was the time of the Passover, and the city was full of people from all over. They thought Jesus was coming to be a king, but they weren't paying attention. He wasn't riding on a white horse. He came in on a donkey that was borrowed. Still, that Sunday, when Jesus came into Jerusalem, people waved palm branches, which was a sign of a king. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Jesus went into the temple to teach. Every night, he went back to the Mount of Olives with the 12 disciples. The people watched him and whispered that the Mount of Olives was where the angels were supposed to come down and make an army to drive away the Roman soldiers. One day, when Jesus was teaching in the temple, he said, "Do you see that old woman over there? She's going to put something into the money box. Listen. Do you hear anything?" No. She put the smallest coin there is in the box. That was all the money she had. Now, here comes a rich man. He has so much money to put in the money box that he had to have help to carry it. His money makes a huge clanging and ringing noise as they pour it into the box. Now I wonder, which one really gave the most? The old woman or the rich man? Some said the rich man, because he gave the most. Some said the old woman, because she gave everything. The temple guards saw, and they said, "On Thursday, we will take him." But on Thursday, they could not find him. That evening, Jesus and the 12 disciples hurried through the dark streets towards a house. They climbed upstairs into an upper room and shared their Last Supper together. After they had everything they wanted to eat, Jesus took some bread and gave thanks to God for it. Then he broke it and he said something like this: "Whenever you break the bread like this and share it, I will be there." He also took a cup of wine, gave thanks to it, and said, "Whenever you share a cup of wine like this, I will be there." What was he talking about? He was always saying things like this. How could they know? Still, they thought that, and they would not forget, and later they would understand. Suddenly, Judas got up and left. The rest sang a hymn and then went into the Garden of Gethsemane on the Mount of Olives. Jesus wanted to pray. When he finished, he joined the 12, but Judas came out of the dark and greeted him. This was a sign for the temple guards to take him. They too came out of the shadows and took Jesus away with them into the night. The other disciples also disappeared into the darkness as well.